it's always moving and crackling and roaring and shifting. And it's so mesmerizing. And one of the things that I realize that men don't want to sit and stare into each other's eyes and talk about what's deep and what's real. So to have a focal point like a fire is just easy then. You know, we're we're talking to the fire, but our dudes are all around receiving us.
Trevor Stevenson, you're bringing adventure coaching to men in ways that are truly transformative and innovative. We are remote right now. What do you think would be different if we were to record this podcast in the shared space?
Mm. Well, it might be horizontal if you have a second hammock there for one, swinging in the breeze. Um, yeah, I think it's shared experience as well, especially in like your background where you are is just so absolutely gorgeous, you know, and you hear the sounds of nature, and to be in that together is powerful. But there's also just an energetic resonance that doesn't, like, we can do pretty well. We found that out through COVID. You know, we can do pretty well online, but there's nothing like being right there, IRL, as you say. You know, being side by side, looking at each other's eyes without all the megabits between us.
If something changes as well when you're in the same space, right? So the digital divide certainly removes those chemical interactions that your bodies have without you realizing, but it also changes where we're in different environments. And I think that that's very impactful in terms of limiting the connection sometimes.
It's like my kids and their devices and their Snapchat and their TikTok, and you know, they're on it constantly, which is a little crazy making for me. But it's also they're connected to so many people in ways that we never were. You know, we used to, like, the town down the road or the other high school in our town used to kind of be the enemy, and now they're just best friends with everyone all over. Their connections are really made beautiful through that. And I know it's that much more expansive when they are able to get together. There's just, you know, huge smiles and camaraderie.
If there wasn't such an emphasis in the modern world on digital connectivity, this podcast probably wouldn't really have a reason to exist. How silly would this podcast have seemed 25 years ago? You help men get better. You use adventure as a transformative tool. What happens when a group of men intentionally convene in nature?
I think we breathe easier when we're out in nature and we're together. Uh, Individually, we breathe better when we're and more deeply, and we're more connected and rooted and grounded. But when we can do that in the collective, there's a releasing of tension that happens for us, and you can just feel the energy just kind of come down, and then that's when connection can happen. And it's no different anywhere in the world with any relationship, any conversation, even the one in our heads, right? That's why we have to get outside. That's why we have to burn off some of that energy in healthy ways. And when guys come together to do this, Ali, they really, when we can slow down, it just allows space for other things. Our mind is always going, what do I have to do? What is unfinished? Who needs me here? You know, where's the bank balance at? What's left undone? And nature just has a way of just letting that sift and drift off. And when we're together, then the beauty of that is that men have built up these masks and armor and walls around us to keep us safe from revealing our emotions and all these things. And when we can breathe a little easier, those things come down, and then we can have more real conversations and just truly connect, then understand that it's not us going through this individual isolated experience in the world that nobody else could understand. It's like, wow, you too, amazing, oh my gosh, let's talk about it. And that's just beautiful, and it's through the talking about it and releasing that we get better.
What happens when that occurs around fire?
Mm. Fire is interesting, right? It's got to be the most mesmerizing thing. Like you can stare at the stars for a little while, but they're and they twinkle a bit. But a fire is just, it's always moving and crackling and roaring and shifting, and it's so mesmerizing. And one of the things that I realize that men don't want to sit and stare into each other's eyes and talk about what's deep and what's real. So to have a focal point like a fire is just easy then. We're we're talking to the fire, but our dudes are all around receiving us. And that's, it's an easy in to start working on things like this. And I mean, fire's got so much, right? It's got the heat. We can cook on it. We can jump over it. We can burn things. We can release. There's fire's just a beautiful bonus to whatever you're doing.
Jungle fire. Let's go back to digital isolation for a minute because it's rampant. It's affecting humans of all ages and genders. If a man is feeling disconnected, how can he reconnect with his physical surroundings in ways that feel restorative and nourishing?
Just walk out your door. I mean, obviously, most people are in cities, but even cities, there's little specks of green here and there, and some trees, and um, getting outside is huge and restorative on its own. If you can get further afield, if you can go where there's wide open spaces and plethora of trees, we all have heard now about forest bathing and such. It was, we were doing it long before we got the term, but the science, the neuroscience has shown now you can go and hug a tree, and you get a similar oxytocin response from the brain that you get when you're hugging a person. So it's amazing. It's a big thing to just get off the screens and do something else.
We were just talking about all the snow that's dropped recently. What happens is it's winter. How do you handle that? How do you still get in touch with nature when it's cold outside?
This cold exposure science that is all around us now, the cold plunges and things like that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going outside. This is my life, cold plunge. So I know it's good for me on all sorts of levels. So we do have to just commit to it. Again, community, having partnerships, going, it's Wonderful Wednesdays. My men's group has been connecting for like 15 years, and every Wednesday, no matter what's going on out there, we go and we make up a game, or we just hike. We have a fire. We have some food and drinks, and just have really great conversations about all that's going on in our lives. And it's a recipe for health and beautiful results in our life.
Fire takes on whole new meaning when it's cold, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, that really brings people together.
You and I share a love for nature based adventure. Tell me about an adventure with companions that was transformative for you.
Well, there's many. I think one of the ones, oh gosh, yeah, there's so many. Something that jumps to mind is just the Wonderful Wednesday meetups that I do with my guys. And you're either, well, it's both. You're there for whatever is going on for your brothers, but they're also there for you, which is a beautiful reminder. And so to have such a trusting relationship and a bond when you're out on a hike, again, you're not looking at each other, you're walking down the trail, or you're skiing or biking or whatever, but you're chatting. and you're able to just share, and just that sharing is such a release and a relief for us, that is it you come back refreshed. And whatever reminders the boys have for you as well is huge, of like, they know who you are at your core, they know your true power, they know when you're living in your truth, or when you're just living scared or in scarcity or something. And so that's always transformative. When we were on the last adventure coaching experience, we were in Nicaragua and out on Ometepe, the islands, and we chose to climb a volcano out there. And it was actually really incredible, because the we ended up, you divide into twos or threes or whatever, and just to witness the conversations that people, I'm there, I'm the guide, I'm the coach, but the conversations that the guys started having, and then we'd meet back up and we'd kind of get the get the download of what they had experienced, and just, there were guys in tears and there were guys hugging, and it was just so beautiful to see that. And we were both at a point of challenge and exhaustion and excitement and incredible beauty and nature, and so we were out of our comfort zone in some ways already, but there was also just that trust and belief that it's okay if I share what's going on for me, and to receive that. And guys, we can all be great mirrors for each other, where the whole you can't see the picture when you're in the frame kind of thing. But when you're sharing your story with someone else, often it can be really easy for them to see where our sticking points or our stuck patterns are.
Fun fact, the eco farm has no mirrors
Mm.
because to help you go within. As you mentioned, when you were with your group of guys in Nicaragua, you were a little out of your comfort zone, but just the right amount where you weren't actually scared, but you were having experiences that would be impactful long after those moments had passed.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all still talk about that, and these times. And I got the tour of your farm there as well, so I know there's all sorts of cool things you can do that create challenge for people to be pushed a little bit outside that comfort zone, which is it's so important for us. That's our growth zone out there.
There's heads of growth in the tech space, so we should have bring that same parallel to the wellness space.
It's founded on that, really, right? That's all we're trying to do is grow beyond our conditioned self and grow into our true self and grow more connected. And
A lot of growth happening, actual plant growth on the eco farm too. So the parallels are beautiful.
yeah, no, I'm envious.
Let's flip the script. Say something totally unhinged about the power of connecting IRL.
I was talking to a friend recently about long distance relationships, and they're asking, do you think they work? I'm like, well, yeah, they absolutely can. I have friends all over the world like this, that we stay connected, and it's beautiful, and it feels wonderful. I said, but if it's something that you're looking to grow, I don't think it can stay distant and remote forever. Certainly not for too long. I don't know what that time frame is, but real growth truly does happen when we're together. It's I think of what we were just talking about in nature. Like, if I've got my soil over here in one pot and I put my plant over here in another pot, it's not going to do too well. I need to bring all of those things together, and nature's always a great example and an expression of that. That web and that symbiosis and the permaculture, all things have to work equally and they have to work together. And you need those clouds and the rain and the wind and the sun to feed the nutrients within the plant, that feed the soil, and it all comes up and around, and it's completely symbiotic. And we're just one of those creatures of nature too. And so for us to be able to operate in that way and get the socks and the shoes off and be barefoot in the ground, literally is grounding. And when we can do that in companionship and unison with others, I think, it does become limitless in how we can grow.
Make sure you water the roses and not the weeds.
We have to tend to that garden constantly, right? Because if those weeds are the conditioned belief and the traumas that we've experienced in our lives that try to take over and run the show, and our mindset and decision making and our actions in the world, then life isn't going to be a bunch of roses, right? It's going to be a little choked out. I'll ask you this question, Ali, and it's a question I'm asking a lot of people, um, because I want more guys to start showing up for themselves foremost and stop their own pain and suffering, because the ripple effect of what our impact is in the world is massive. And so I'm always curious about what you think men can do. What's the most important thing for guys to do to change, would you say?
Let's have more kindness and respect. I really would like to keep it simple. I think simplicity goes a lot further than complexity in these types of situations. And so we need some North Stars. And to me, those North Stars should be kindness and respect. And if more men can use those as their North Stars, I think they're pretty simple, actually. We're all intelligent men and women to recognize unkindness and disrespect when it arises. And so if we can have more kindness and respect in the world from all genders, then the world would probably be a very different place.
I'm always trying to crack that code of what will make it more comfortable for a man who's feeling stuck to actually put up their hand and say, help. It's not something we're good at. And so for anyone that's out there, I speak to a lot of women, and they are absolutely wanting this for the men in their lives. And they try to support and nurture and encourage. And when that doesn't work, they try to push and nag. And when that doesn't work, they're like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that nag. And things begin to distance and separate. And so I think for anyone that is a man or knows a man, if there's a way to um, just let them know that sharing what's real for you, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you an outcast. It's going to open up some really incredible things for you. So just find one person with whom you can share, and then let that grow. There's a lot of great things out there. I'm doing some of them, but so are so many other dudes. And so find something that resonates with you, that you're going to want to experience, that's going to be fun, that's going to be build connection, and build that honesty with yourself about, oh yeah, this is the shitstorm that I grew up in and came through. But now if I want more kindness and respect, what's the work that I need to do? And then we work on that together in nature by the fire.
Everyone's accepted at the mud pit.
Exactly. There can only be one champ, though.
Trevor Stevenson, the only way to end the podcast is to physically get up and go back to IRL. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm already up, so you just got to get up. I'll give you a big hug.
I'm behind a big hug, a big wrestle in the mud pit the next time that I see you.
Yeah. Let's see you get
It's
up.
beautiful.
Here's your up. Oh, up and
Oh, I'm taking my time. I'm gonna straddle the hammock.
nice. I love it. Well, Ali,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Trevor Stevenson. This is beautiful. We're gonna get up and go back to IRL. Have a beautiful day.
Anyways, I'll try to appease my cat here. He's clawing.
And my cat was whining a little earlier. I was like, this cat better shut up.